Well, good morning. Welcome to Forex.Today. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble. What the hell? Focus on the long term and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My shirt. What you don't see is there's a button here. Apparently the button don't work none. That's not good. That's not good. My button don't button no more. So good morning. Hello. It is, look at that, the 2nd of March, 2018. It's a Friday. Boom, one more trading day. Another opportunity to get filthy rich or something. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, so John says, hey, I caught your live event on YouTube yesterday. Yeah, cool. So here's what I'm testing out right now. By the way, my name is Wayne. Nice to meet you. Thanks for jumping in the middle of my intro, John. So right after this event, if you happen to have missed it, right, I'll immediately run a replay on Facebook and on YouTube. Immediately. So like, let's say you caught only the last half of the live webinar, then you could just flip over to YouTube or Facebook and catch the beginning. And it'll only be like 20 minutes behind or whatever. You know what I mean? Close to live, instant replay. And then, of course, it'll be archived forever on those places as well. Cool, right? That's nice, I know, right? Anyways, we do these sessions live Monday through Friday here at Forex.Today, 7:30 in the morning. That's a couple hours before the New York session gets going. That's approximately London lunch. It's a great opportunity for the community at Forex.Today to get together and collaborate. I'm here to teach technical and fundamental analysis and screw your head on straight and all that kind of stuff. Next Friday, I'll be at FX Street for Trade Non-Farm Payrolls Live, 143rd month in a row for that one particular webinar. It's good, right? You are the man, Wayne. Cool. Joe. Joe. All right. Well, I'll try to do Joe. Joe. Cool. So anyways, that's that. Good morning. What? All right. So what? What's changed fundamentally in the last 24 hours? See that? You're like, that's kind of a feminine cup. Really? I got my mommy fuel. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me something mommy desires. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's not, well, import taxes. It's trade barriers. So it's more than that. And I don't know. So anyways, that's bad for business. It just is. I took a whole class at Harvard on the international political economy, which is basically a mix of business, right? It's a mix of macroeconomics, politics, and game theory. Very cool. Which led me to take an entire class on game theory. And I don't know, I guess that makes me wicked smart or something. I don't know. But what I can tell you is it's straight up trade barriers, closing the economy just slightly, freaks everybody out because that hasn't been the policy of the United States since before World War II. Right? I think we went a little bit protectionist after World War I. I can't quite remember. I think so. I think everyone globally. And that's where socialist pig dogism really took off. World War I was bad for a lot of reasons. So anyways, long story short, that's just bad for business. It doesn't make any sense. And yet, you ask the U.S. steel guys, and they're like, we didn't ask for this, right? And then what it does is blocks business with Canada, blocks business with Europe, so they freak out. They're like, wait, you're hurting us. We're your allies. Japan's like, you don't have to worry about us. South Korea's like, you don't have to worry about us. We're allies, And then people on the news, so I listen to Bloomberg in the morning, and it's funny because, I don't know, I don't think they get it. So they have expert after expert after expert saying this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Well, it is bad, but if you don't mind me throwing in my opinion, Trump is about to do negotiations with China. And people are like, this doesn't hurt China. China only imports, or of the steel business, of the Chinese steel business, only 3% of it is with the United States. So Trump doesn't know what he's doing, and he's doing this, and he's doing that, and this is really bad, and this just kills everything. And well, that might be true, and maybe he is that dumb, and you probably might think that. And I don't think anything, but if you were really smart, let's just say he was a genius. Not many people say that. I'm not saying he is, but let's just say he was. And he's about to do negotiations with China. And China's a big player, obviously, right? So it's superpower against superpower. And in fact, the day before he announced this, the senior most Chinese negotiator was on his way to Washington, D.C. to meet with the White House. So it's not like suddenly Trump threw this out there. But I think if he was a genius, I don't know if he is, but if he was a genius, he's saying, hey, this Chinese delegation's on the way to the United States right now to negotiate with me. And if I sit down with them and negotiate over something that matters, and I say, hey, you can't do that to the United States, we'll block that, right? We'll throw up barriers. China's kind of like, you can't do that. We're China. And if you do that, you hurt yourself. You don't have the political will or power to do it. So to take something, again, I don't know if this is his logic, how would I? But if he was a genius, he would say, all right, he'd get with his team. All right, I need something big, newsworthy stuff that'll get the whole world talking. I need a trade barrier, and I'm going to impose it before we even start negotiations. And I need it to be newsworthy. It can't just be on, rubber chickens or something, right? You can't put taxes on importing rubber chickens. We need something huge, right? And someone says, well, you know what? The steel industry is huge. The aluminum industry is huge. And it would get global attention. But as far as actually threatening China, it's very, 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 very small to China. And it wouldn't actually start a trade war because it doesn't actually hurt them. But they would get the signal. And you start the negotiations that way. So if he was a genius, that is the way to do it. So for example, Bugsy Siegel, the man that built Las Vegas, if you sat down at a conference room, at a conference table to negotiate, you'd sit down, he'd take out his gun, and he'd put it down in front of him on the table. And he's like, let's negotiate. He wouldn't touch the gun. He wouldn't point the gun at you. He wouldn't threaten you. It would just be there. Let's negotiate. Do you think that gun changed the way you negotiated? Well, that's part of game theory. So what he just blocked was like China saying, you don't have the political power or the guts to impose a major trade barrier. There's no way you're going to start a trade war. You might threaten it, but you're not going to do it, sucker. I got you red, boy. Right? Because that's how the Chinese talk, So all of a sudden he's like, I already did it. I already did it. The world is freaking out because I got the power. I'm the president of the United States. And I just did a trade embargo. I didn't need Congress. I didn't need the Senate. I can do it. I did it. And in your face on the day you were flying to meet me. So and then now you negotiate. So, but look, if he actually did something that, if it was specifically something that hurt China, then that would strike a retaliation, right? That would be a war. Okay? That would be a war, and that would be ineffective, right? Because if you're doing game theory, then that goes defect, right? If you're doing it's not X's and O's. Isn't what do you call that? Anyways, in game theory, that's one of the things you study, right? It's the prisoner's dilemma, right? So I don't want to go into prisoner's dilemma, but I can tell you, if Trump opened with a defect move, then the Chinese will defect because there's no opportunity for them to win, and you get a defect outcome. So showing that you have the power, but not actually hurting China, it's just like putting a gun in front of you. And it's just assumed you could use it, right? Like if someone put a gun in front of you and you didn't think the guy's the type of person to pull the trigger and kill you, it wouldn't matter, right? But if you're sitting down with a known mobster and there's a revolver in front of him and you're supposed to negotiate, it changes, right? Because you actually think he might kill you. Changes everything, right? Okay, so all I'm saying is maybe we kind of get there where there's a gun and you believe that he could do it, or you're not even sure that that's enough. Like he might do it. He might actually shoot me. That's enough to change the outcome of the game theory, of the game, right? So anyways, all right, so I've studied the math, okay? Come on, I've studied the math. Anyways, long story short, if he was a genius, and he might be because this guy did become president of the United States, and I don't know about your political stuff, and don't get all freaked out. People get freaked out about this. Don't get freaked out. If he knows what he's doing, then that's a brilliant move. And some people will just love him and say, that's great, that really helps the steal, which just tells me you don't understand. Some other people will say, he's a freak, he's a fool, he's an idiot, what a dummy, everybody knows. Once again, you don't even, so from what I saw on Bloomberg, nobody even understood what was going on. Really, they're all talking about 99.9% of people don't seem to even understand what's going on. So if you do the math, it kind of looks like he might be brilliant. And I'm not a Trump lover or hater, okay? But it's the right thing to do if there's game theory. Now, he might just be a wacko and just a random chance, right? Like it's like rolling the die. Or let me say, flipping a coin. Well, let's say it randomly hits heads. That's how, so I don't know. Maybe he made a random move and it looks good. That's possible too. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, I don't care what you think about Trump. I think what's happened now is the world is reacting to trade barriers. Is that good for business or bad for business based on modern macroeconomic theory? We got two bads. Abel. I love that name, Abel. That's a great name. This is my brother, Capable. But it's such a positive name, right? Okay, it's bad. It's bad. Ask Honduras or El Salvador what happens when you close your borders. Well, actually, ask any country south of the United States. Yeah, what happens is the whole system breaks down. It's just a matter of time. It doesn't work. You can go back to, again, I can do the math and show you that specialization increases output. You can literally, this is the stuff you do at school, right? You punch out the math and say, oh, well, there may be an absolute value, but then there's also a relative value, and the relative, specialization, good, free trade, good. So if country A makes bicycles and country B makes TVs, then both countries will be better off with more TVs and bicycles than if each country simply made TVs and bicycles. Okay? So anyways. Sonny, I don't know anything about how the Saudis rolled out the red carpet. I don't know. But okay. So anyway. Bad for business. Is that risk on or risk off? You're like, oh, finally, some bad news. Finally, some bad news for macroeconomics. Yeah, risk off. What currencies do you buy in a risk off scenario? Yen, Swissy, and dollar. Thank you. I accept those three. There may be more. Okay. Maybe some gold. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that, Teddy boy. So, but let's focus on dollar, yen, and Swissy. So when you see news like that, that's your instant assumption. Okay? And that happened after our webinar yesterday. Okay? So, look at that. I don't see dollar strength. That might mean something. Interesting. Okay? That's interesting. Notice what was supposed to happen. You tell me, what is supposed to happen in a situation like this? We're not talking about fundamentals now. Yeah, it took profit. So we know at least everybody got out of the market, right? And notice that was the bottom of our range so that's a 2-week swing short. 2 weeks. Nice, right? This kind of goes back to our conversation yesterday too, right? Do you remember where I said you were a bull and we found all the bullish areas to buy, and you you either broke even or you made money, right? And then I showed you if you were a bear, you had various opportunities and you either made money or you broke even. And this is another classic example, like we know for a fact, right? Like it's not even a debate. We know for a fact as a bull, if you know how to trade, which that's a big assumption, right? But if you know how to trade, you have to get out of that short position there, right? No debate. Have to, 100%. If you don't know what you're doing. Cool. Is that an opportunity for bulls now? If you were a bull, you're like, well, I haven't had too many opportunities since Monday or Tuesday to go long, but now we're down here, I think I have a shot. Right? You don't bet on it, but if you see any signs of green candles, you're going to salivate. like Pavlov, right? Ring the bell. You're like, oh my God, it's Thursday and we're hitting S2? Oh, if I see green candles in here, I'm taking a shot. Is that correct? You don't have to, but you have nothing else to do if you're a bull, right? And the other interesting thing is, based on that logic, it's not this price, right? We're not talking about that price. We're not talking about this price. What price are we talking about? That price right there. Right? Isn't that funny? The price. That one. It's not because of the wick, it's because of the pivot. So what do you look for after that to get long if you happen to be a bull? Now remember, bears you were supposed to have gotten out. And let me tell you, hopefully this reinforces the lesson. This tells me every professional bear took profit there because they know how to trade. That proves it. That's not a random walk. And how much money do you think it requires to reverse the Euro USD, which is 40% of the entire foreign exchange market on the planet? 40% of 5 trillion. 200 million ain't nothing.